And I'm just going to show you first before we go into this because it was a little bit complicated trying to figure out how to do the virtual peer review. Usually on Blackboard that I would just have the worksheet itself, and then I would make a list of partners. But according to Canvas, it's supposed to generate partners for the revision worksheet. Let me see if it, okay. So what you would do first, if you would like to have a peer review your paper, would be to go here under the module for week 4 under draft discussion board and just upload the paper there. I don't think anybody's done this yet. Um, and let me see if there are threaded replies to it. But what you would do is you would go here. See if there's no. So it's not graded because it's just for you to upload your paper to. And that you just upload your paper there. Then you would find your peer partner, their paper, and then you would use the worksheet. And there's an extra bonus here, but I also added a bonus if you would like to use tutor.com, which is when you go to Canvas, I made sure it was a tool right here. You just click tutor.com, and it's a totally free service offered through Jefferson State Community College that you can meet with a live tutor that will give you feedback. And I recommend this for everybody, whether you are an exceptional writer or whether you struggle with writing, because it really does help just to have someone else review your work, and another set of eyes to look for grammar, things that you may not catch yourself after you've spent that long on your own paper. So it is a really good resource. So first of all, you would go here, upload the paper, and then you would go to this assignment here and see who your partner is. It should automatically generate it. I'm going to ask y'all to have y'all did this assignment, has it generated any peers? Because I clicked on automatic partners for this. Were y'all able to see any partners for this particular assignment?
Not on mine.
You didn't see any, it didn't generate any, because I went here and clicked automatically assign peer reviews. So I was assuming it probably would either send you a message saying who your partner was or something like that. So it didn't say anything, and this assignment doesn't have who your partner would be.
Mine
No, it
says
didn't.
I'm locked until the 8th.
Same
You're
here.
locked until the 8th? Okay. Um, maybe that's because I did assign, maybe I'll just, okay, I want to take the peer review, automatic peer review off, and then see it, click this, and then if needed, I can just go in, and what I can do is I will just, after this meeting, I can type in, what I would always do is I would just type in suggested partners, and I'll just assign you a partner, and it'll be written on this page here. And if you don't, like I said, if you don't want to do that, it's okay. If you don't want to have to, ask a peer to review your paper, it's just if we were in a classroom that it'd be something in class we would have, I would try to make time to do. And I really think it's important to do peer reviews. But if you really just, if you're not able to get in contact with your classmate, I mean, that happens, especially with virtual classes, or you rather just review your own paper, that's okay too. Um, does it still say you're locked after I took off I'm not sure which CRN or which class number are you in? Are you in the 124 or 55 or 56?
I
Yeah,
couldn't tell you, but it's still saying I'm locked, locked out.
okay. I'm gonna go through all these real quick, and I'll just keep talking about the worksheet. So if you'd like to do and I will just, like I said, I'll just I'll just go through and make a list if it's an issue, if it's not automatically generating a partner. This is new to me too, because I'm just used to Blackboard. And with Blackboard, I would just post the worksheet, and then I would give the students an opportunity to, I would just assign peer review partners, and then say you could just review your own paper. But I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you want to do the peer review, you would just upload your paper in the discussion board. Then if you don't want to do the peer review with a partner, you don't have to upload it in the discussion board. That's just a way so you can find your partner's paper without having to email them and whatnot. And then you would just take the worksheet, and you would take your draft. So this is after you have a complete draft. Your draft is not your final copy, but it's just a working copy of your paper. And then you'll just go through this worksheet, and how I broke it down was to focus on organization, grammar and mechanics, um, and also and formatting as well. And so I tried to kind of break it down step by step, just basic questions about the paper that will help you to know you're on the right track with it, and look for any errors or mistakes that could be in your paper. Um, and what you'll do is you'll just copy that worksheet, and then you could copy onto a Word document, and you would just put in the number, or you could type it into the text box, or copy into the text box too. It'd probably be easier with a Word document. And then you would, at that point, just go through the questions, and if you don't answer all the questions, or you don't put an X or a number of mistakes you found and all of them, that's okay. But the majority of them should have either an X that you've looked for that point, or you found mistakes. You could put a number of mistakes that you found. And then for bonus, that you can go to tutor.com, and then there are questions on that worksheet you would answer based on their feedback, how you would use that feedback in your paper. And so that's all you're doing, is you take that worksheet and then resubmit it with completed, and it has the reviewer and the reviewee. If you are working with a peer, if it's a paper, you're reviewing the paper, you're the reviewer, and then the reviewee is the person whose name is written on the paper. But like I said, and I'm gonna see if this works, if I just take off the automatic um, peers that are posted, if this will help you to be able to access it. I think that now, one of the classes, someone has already turned this in, but I'll just take this off of here, and off of all these for right now. Like I said, I've never tried to do the automatic peer review, so it's new to me. Um, can you go back and now, will it let you access it now?
Uh, yeah, I don't know if it's something on my end.
Are you going to the module and clicking on it?
I am.
Okay. Did you also, you could go under the to-do list on Canvas too, or, is anyone else having problems accessing the revision worksheet?
I tell you what, I'm lying. It popped up.
Okay, well, maybe it was the peer review. So I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I was hoping it would just generate your list, but what I'll do is, after this meeting, I'll just make sure to well, I'll just post on the worksheet. I'll just make a list of suggested peer review partners. And if, like I said, if you would like to, you would probably need to still, I guess, well, since I already would have a list of the partners, you would just, when you saw your partner's paper on the discussion board, then you would just read that paper, and then turn in the worksheet. You would put your name as the reviewer of that paper, and they would put their name as the reviewer of your paper, and then that's how you would turn it in. But like I said, that if you if you want to just review your own paper, that's okay too, because I know that it is a little bit more difficult with it being online. But I just wanted to go over that first because it was a little bit complicated. And also I wasn't sure how the automatic partner reviews, how that was going to work with Canvas, if it was going what I was going to do with that. So, um, so let's go ahead and we'll take a look at, and so this is the module for this week. I combined week 4 and week 5 together. So what I did was I did try to separate when you go under this is the to do, actually. Yeah, the to do, I really didn't make it as comprehensive because the lesson is always going to be under to learn here. So when you click under learn, there's the lessons for weeks 4 and 5. And so I separated week 4 here. So this is what you're doing for week 4, and then this is what is due for week 5. So for week 4, I posted the PowerPoint. There's just a short PowerPoint on narration. And then there's a quiz on rhetorical strategies and narrative writing that's due September 7th. And let's see, I think I actually got part of this a little bit out of order here. So I put the revision worksheet. The link is a little bit out of place here where in terms of what I wrote to the assignment. So this is the worksheet here. And then it is due on September the 8th. And once again, to do the revision, you need to make sure that you have a draft of the paper, and it's not going to be your final draft, and it's the draft of the paper. And then you use the worksheet to review it. And if you answer the questions on the worksheet from tutor.com, you make an appointment with tutor.com. I would say try at least a few days in advance, like maybe by September 6th or 7th at the very latest, like early on the 7th. Go to tutor.com, and then you could get their feedback. And so on the worksheet here, once again, that if you're just reviewing your own paper, you could just write your name at the top here. But you can, so in these boxes, you could just put an X or the number of mistakes that you've found. And you just want to look for, first of all, just read it once, looking for spelling, punctuation, run-on sentences, fragments. Look for the correct paragraph formatting. And then you want to review for MLA format as well. Make sure you know that it's double spaced, that is written in Times New Roman, 12-point font, that you do have a creative title that conveys the purpose of your story, or it'll grab your reader's attention, the title of your story. And that's always going to be centered too. And for each new paragraph, you always indent, it's 5 spaces for each paragraph. And that you're making sure that you vary your syntax. So by varying between simple, complex, and compound sentences, that it makes your paper easy to read. And I really recommend reading your paper out loud once too. It does help make sure that the sentences flow, that there's a balance. You don't have all just simple sentences or compound sentences in a paragraph. That is, it's smooth and easy to follow. And like I said, it just makes it easier to catch any mistakes that there might be by reading it out loud as well. If you have time to do that, it'll kind of help you see the flow of your paper and the organization. And then if you meet with tutor.com too, just talking about your paper with somebody is helpful. And if y'all need to talk about your paper in the meeting where you're at with your paper too, that that's what we're here for also. And then after that, you want to look for concision, so looking for wordiness. Prepositional phrases, you do need them sometimes. Sometimes it just adds extra words to what you're saying. and it's actually not helpful if you just cross through it and find more specific, concise words. That would be actually better. Making sure you don't overuse adjectives that are redundant. Looking for phrasal verbs that are, two or more words as a um, verbal phrase. So you would have spelled out or set off or get up, set out. Those are all examples of phrasal verbs that you could eliminate, cross through, and find a more specific verb to replace those that just add wordiness. Sometimes adverb clauses also just add to wordiness as well, and just crossing through any phrases that are unnecessary, any slang or jargon. In this particular assignment, though, you can have some slang and some jargon, but in general, like if based on the narrative tone that you have, that if it's, if it's a character speaking, of course they could talk in slang, but if it's a time when your narrator is being, if you have a more serious narrator, you definitely need to abide by these techniques just because it makes it easier. And though, like I said, with the narrative, you will not necessarily have to check off all of these, but it's just good to know and review for when we do get to more formal writing. And at times, if it's the you speaking as a narrator, whoever you choose to be the narrator of the paper, you want to make sure that if they are speaking in more like the narrator, or at the end of the paper even, so the end of the paper, your tone's going to be a little bit more formal in that last paragraph when you're reflecting. And so you definitely want to take into account all these things about writing to a scholarly audience. But the bulk of your paper, the main plot, there's times when you could have some slang in it depending on the character. If they are, someone that would speak in a colloquial language or slang, but you still want to use these techniques when you are describing things, like you're describing a scene. You don't want to use slang or just everyday talk. You want to still use these principles, but at times in the narrative, you might not need to abide by these specific rules for this particular assignment. But um, as you are, whoever your narrator is, they're going to probably need to use the concision and looking for all the grammar rules and things like that, just because that there will be some formality to your story.